Gilgamesh, Enkidu, and the Netherworld. In those most ancient times, when the foundations of the world were laid, when all existence first appeared in its form and every creation found its name, when man was created and his lineage established upon the earth, when people learned to till the fields, bake bread, and be sated by the fruits of their labor, when the first fire was kindled in the furnaces of the land and masters began to melt metal, crafting vessels and tools, then the great deeds of the gods were accomplished. Then the heavens were separated from the earth, and the great abyss lay between them. Anu, the Lord of the heights, lifted the heavens unto himself and made them his kingdom. Enlil, the mighty ruler of winds and destinies, took the earth and established his laws upon it. And the Ereshkigal was given as a gift to the netherworld, to reign over the land from which no one returns, over the realm of darkness where the souls of the dead abide. After that came the time of the great journey. Enki, the Lord of wisdom, fresh waters, and hidden knowledge, steered his boat toward the bounds of the netherworld. Not for the sake of war did he set out, but to establish order in the depths of creation and determine the boundaries between worlds. But scarcely had his boat entered the great waters when the forces of the abyss rose up. Small stones struck the side of the vessel swiftly, and huge boulders rushed to meet it with such force that the reed thickets shuddered and bent under their onslaught. The stones swirled around the keel of Enki's boat like a multitude of tortoises surrounding the vessel from all sides. Before the prow of the boat, the waters opened their maw, like a hungry wolf devouring everything that crossed its path. In the wake, however, waves raged like a fierce lion whose fury knew no bounds. Great was the power of the waters, and terrible was their wrath, for no mortal could have passed that way. Thus began Enki's journey into the depths of the netherworld, a journey that was to change the destiny of the gods, establish a new order of creation, and unlock secrets hidden from those who live beneath the sky. And it was in those most ancient days, after the heavens and the earth were established, after each god was assigned his lot and each creation its place, that a tree grew on the banks of the pure Euphrates, and there was no other like it. It was the sacred Huluppu tree. It drank the waters of the great river and grew stronger day by day. But a mighty south wind arose, rushed upon it with great force, tore its roots from the earth, shattered its branches, and the turbulent waters of the Euphrates carried the tree along their current. And Inanna, the great mistress of the heavens, obedient to the word of An and submissive to the command of Enlil, saw it. She stretched out her hand, lifted the tree from the waters, and brought it to the sacred city of Uruk. There, in the midst of her blooming garden, she planted it, so that it might put down roots once more and find a new life. Unceasingly did Inanna care for the tree. Neither by day nor by night did she leave it without attention. Her hands knew no rest, and her eyes did not turn away from the young trunk. She awaited the day when the tree would become great. And she said in her heart, "When shall a magnificent throne be fashioned for me, that I may sit upon it? When shall a magnificent bed be made for me, that I may rest upon it?" 5 years passed. Then 10 years passed. The tree grew tall and strong, and its bark became so hard that no one could cleave it. But while the tree was growing, forces that no one had summoned took up residence within it. At its very roots, a serpent that knew neither fear nor incantations made its dwelling. High in the branches, the mighty Anzud bird built its nest and hatched its chick there. And in the very middle of the trunk, the maid Lilith took up residence, making the tree her home. Beautiful was her face and white-toothed, but her heart was carefree, and she had no wish to leave her refuge. When Inanna saw this, her heart filled with sorrow, and the mistress of Uruk wept bitterly. And it was at dawn, when the first rays illuminated the heavens, when the birds awakened and filled the air with their song, that Utu, the god of the sun, emerged from his chambers to begin his daily journey. Then his sister Inanna approached him and said, "My brother, remember the ancient times when the gods determined the destinies of the world, when abundance was granted to the land, when An lifted the heavens unto himself, and Enlil took possession of the earth, when Ereshkigal was given as a wife to the lord of the netherworld, when Enki set out on a great voyage to the borders of Kur, and the waters rose against him like wild beasts. In those very days, the hulupu tree grew on the banks of the Euphrates. The south wind tore it from the earth, the waters carried it away, and I rescued it from the river waves. I brought it to Uruk, planted it in my sacred garden, and for many years raised it with my own hands. I had hoped that one day my royal throne and my magnificent bed would be made from its wood. But now a serpent has settled at its roots, the Anzud bird lives in its branches, and Lilith dwells in the middle of the trunk. And none of them wishes to leave the tree. Tell me then, my brother, who will deliver me from these inhabitants? Who will cleanse the tree that I have raised with such love?"
But her brother, the hero Utu, did not answer the words of his sister. He listened to Inanna's sorrow, yet raised not his hand, nor came to her aid. And it was at dawn, when the light illuminated the heavens, when the birds awakened and filled the air with their song, that Utu emerged from his chambers, to walk the path assigned to him across the vault of heaven. Then Inanna, finding no help from her brother, turned to Gilgamesh, the mighty king of Uruk, him whom the gods had endowed with great strength and a fearless heart. And she repeated to him the same words she had previously spoken to Utu, telling of the sacred Huluppu tree, which she herself had rescued from the waters of the Euphrates and raised in her garden, and of the serpent, the Anzud bird, and Lilith that had taken up residence within it. And Gilgamesh heard the words of Inanna, and his heart filled with resolve. He girded his loins with a heavy warrior's belt, but its weight was to him like a light feather. Then he took in his hand his bronze axe, a great weapon whose weight was so immense that no mortal could have lifted it. But for Gilgamesh, even this axe was like a reed in a traveler's hand. And he came to the sacred tree. At its very roots lay the serpent, knowing neither incantations nor fear of the gods. And Gilgamesh smote it with his axe, and the serpent was no more. When the Anzud bird saw the death of the serpent, it seized its cheek and flew swiftly into the high mountains to hide from the mighty hero. And Lilith, who lived in the middle of the tree, seeing the strength of Gilgamesh, destroyed her dwelling and fled in terror to the desolate lands, daring not to return. Then the Huluppu tree was cleansed of all who had dwelt within it. And Gilgamesh felled its mighty trunk. He cleaved its roots, and he cut off and divided its branches. The men of Uruk who were with him helped him cleanse the tree, lopped off the branches, tied them together, and prepared the wood for a great deed. And the best part of the tree Gilgamesh gave to Inanna. From the sturdy trunk, a magnificent throne was made for her, worthy of the great mistress, that she might sit upon it among gods and men. From another part, a beautiful bed was fashioned, adorned with great artistry, that her chambers might be filled with glory. Yet the hero did not leave himself without a gift from that tree, rescued by Inanna. From its mighty roots he made a magic drum called Pukku, and from its strong branches he carved magic drumsticks called Mikku. And when Gilgamesh struck the drum with them, its sound resonated throughout all of Uruk like a roll of thunder, and summoned the people to the square. The youths of the city gathered at his call, and, obeying the rhythm of the drum, competed in strength, practiced the art of warfare, and glorified their king. Yet these games became burdensome for many. The young men exhausted themselves without rest, and plaintive voices echoed through the streets of the city. "Oh, my throat! Oh, my thighs! There is no more strength to endure this labor."
Those who had mothers returned home, and their mothers brought them bread and food to strengthen their powers. Those who had sisters received water from them, and the sisters washed the faces of their brothers, consoling them after their arduous exercises. Thus the joy of victory mingled with human exhaustion, for even great strength requires a price, and every feat has its cost. And it was, when evening came, that Gilgamesh finished his games and returned to his house. But first he marked the place where his magic drum stood, for he cherished it more than many treasures. The drum and its sticks he brought into his dwelling to keep them until the new day. When morning came and the people gathered once more in the square, when the youths prepared for the competitions and the maidens for songs and dances, suddenly weeping arose among the widows and orphans. The plaints of mothers and the sorrowful cries of children rose up to the sky, and they reached the ears of the great gods. And at that very moment the earth rent apart. The drum Pukku and the sticks Mikku slipped from their place and plunged into the abyss, to the very gates of Ganzir, which lead to Kur, the gloomy netherworld from whence mortals do not return. There, upon the threshold of the realm of shadows, they remained lying, hidden from the eyes of the living. Gilgamesh hurried to that place, stretched out his hand, but could not reach them. He bent lower, strained all his strength, but his efforts were in vain. He thrust his foot into the yawning abyss, yet even then he did not reach what was lost. And his heart filled with sorrow. His face grew dim, and great was the king's grief. And he said, "O my drum, O my sticks, I was not sated with your beauty nor comforted by your mighty sound. Had you still remained in the house of the craftsman who made you, I would have honored his wife like my own mother, and his daughter I would have loved like a younger sister. But now you have descended into Kur, into the land of no return. Who will now bring you back? Who will dare to enter the realm of the dead for my sake?" And Enkidu, his faithful companion and friend, heard him and said to his master, "Do not grieve, my lord. Why is your heart filled with sadness? I will descend into the netherworld, reach the gates of Ganzir, and bring you your drum. Your sticks also I will return to you, if it be the will of the gods." Then Gilgamesh looked at him and said, "If you resolve to descend into Kur, listen to my words and keep them in your heart, for your life depends upon them. Do not clothe yourself in bright garments, lest the shades take you for one of their own. Do not anoint your body with fragrant oil, for its scent will attract the spirits of the netherworld. Do not take a spear with you, because all those who fell by the spear will gather around you. Do not take a staff of cornel wood in your hand, for the shades will seize it and not let you go. Do not wear shoes on your feet, so that your steps do not disturb the silence of the realm of the dead. Do not kiss your beloved wife, and do not reject the unloved one. Do not press your beloved child to you, and do not raise your hand against the one you love less. For every manifestation of earthly love and every manifestation of earthly anger stirs weeping in Kur, and the wails of the netherworld will take hold of you. If you see in the depths her who rests there, the ancient mother of the god Ninazu, do not approach her and do not disturb her. Great is her antiquity, and terrible is her power. Her voice sounds like bronze, and her hair falls like dry straw stirred by the wind." But Enkidu did not keep the words of his master. He clothed himself in bright garments, and the spirits took him for a stranger who had come from the world of the living. He anointed his body with fresh, fragrant oil, and its scent spread throughout all of Kur, so that the shades surrounded him. He took his spear, and all those who fell by the spear gathered around him. He held a staff in his hand, and the dead seized it. He walked in his shoes, and the sound of his steps disturbed the eternal silence of the netherworld. He kissed those whom he loved, and rejected those whom he did not love. He caressed the beloved ones, and raised his hand against the unloved ones, and from this a great cry arose among the inhabitants of Kur. And the ancient mother Ninazu appeared before him. No garments covered her shoulders and chest like precious vessels, and her voice was like the ringing of pure bronze. And great was Enkidu's fear, For he understood that he had fulfilled not a single one of his master's instructions, and therefore found himself in the power of the netherworld.
And it was, when Enkidu desired to return from the netherworld, that neither Namtar, the messenger of death, held him back, nor did the demon Azag lay his hand upon him. Neither Nergal, the dreadful lord of Kur, took him captive, but the earth itself closed over him and kept him in its depths. Enkidu did not fall in battle among men. No sword struck him down, and no spear pierced him. The netherworld took hold of him, and there was no strength capable of freeing him. Then Gilgamesh, the mighty son of Ninsun, was filled with great sorrow. Leaving his city, he alone made his way to the sacred temple of Ekur to stand before Enlil, the Lord of Destinies. And he cried out to the great god, "Father Enlil, my drum fell down into the netherworld, and my sticks reached the gates of Ganzir. Enkidu, my faithful friend, descended after them, but Kur held him back. Namtar did not capture him, Azag did not bind him, Nergal did not take possession of him. He did not perish in battle among warriors, but the land of the dead itself enclosed him within its borders and does not let him back." But Enlil did not answer the weeping of Gilgamesh. Then the king of Uruk left the temple of Enlil and headed to ancient Eridu, to Enki, the Lord of Wisdom, him who knows the secrets of the depths and the hidden paths of creation. He stood before Enki and once more poured out his sorrow. "Father Enki, my drum fell down into Kur, and my sticks reached the gates of Ganzir. Enkidu descended after them, but the netherworld held him back. Neither Namtar nor Azag took him captive. Neither Nergal was the cause of his demise, but the land of no return itself enclosed him within its depths." And Enki took pity on Gilgamesh. He addressed Utu, the great god of the sun, born of the goddess Ningal, and said, "Open the gates of the netherworld for a moment. Rend the earth apart, so that the spirit of Enkidu may rise to his master and tell him what he saw with his own eyes." And Utu fulfilled Enki's command. The earth parted, and a passage opened between the world of the living and the world of the dead. Like a breath of wind, the spirit of Enkidu rose from the depths of Kur and stood before Gilgamesh. And the friends saw one another. They embraced with tears in their eyes, for one belonged to the world of the living, while the other had already become an inhabitant of the land of no return. And Gilgamesh asked, "My friend, have you seen the laws of the netherworld? Have you known the lot of the dead?" But Enkidu replied, "Do not ask me, my master. If I tell you everything I saw, your heart will fill with such sorrow that you will sit upon the ground and weep." Yet Gilgamesh said, "Let my heart break even. Let me sit upon the ground and wail. Still, reveal the truth to me, for bitter knowledge is better than ignorance." Then Enkidu said, "The body that you once embraced as a friend and that gladdened your heart has now become the prey of worms. It has decayed like an old garment thrown into the dust. Its flesh has vanished, its bones are covered with ash, and there is no longer any beauty in it for the living to rejoice in." Hearing this, Gilgamesh cried out loudly, fell to the ground, and wept bitterly. But then he asked, "Tell me, did you see him who had one son?" Enkidu answered, "I saw him. He sits alone by a peg driven into the wall, and ceaselessly grieves, for there is no one to share his lot with him." And Gilgamesh asked, "And him who had 2 sons, did you see him?" And Enkidu said, "I saw him. It is easier for him than for the first. He sits on 2 bricks and tastes his bread." Gilgamesh asked again, "And him who had 3 sons?" Enkidu answered, "He is like a man who receives cool water from a child's hands in a scorching steppe. He has a little comfort." And Gilgamesh asked, "And him who had 4 sons?" Enkidu answered, "He rejoices like a man who has harnessed 4 strong donkeys, for the support of his sons eases his lot." And Gilgamesh asked, "And him who had 5 sons?"
Enkidu answered, "He is like a skilled scribe who is received in the palace without fear and with honor." And Gilgamesh asked, "And him who had 6 sons?" Enkidu answered, "His heart is merry like a good husbandman who has gathered a rich harvest after long labors." And Gilgamesh asked, "And him who had 7 sons?" Enkidu answered, "He sits among the attendants of the gods. A place of honor is granted to him, and he hears the music that accompanies the heavenly feasts." Then Gilgamesh asked, "And did you see him who left no heir behind him?" Enkidu answered, "I saw him. Bitter is his lot. He feeds on wretched crumbs, like bread mixed with dust and scattered by the wind. No one brings him funerary offerings, and no one pronounces his name." And Gilgamesh asked, "And what has become of the palace eunuch?" Enkidu answered, "He stands apart like a foreman, deprived of his own house and offspring. He is lonely among the shadows, and there is no one who remembers him." And Gilgamesh continued to question his friend, wishing to know the fate of all who descend into the land of no return. And Enkidu answered him, for he had seen with his own eyes the laws of Kur and the destiny of human souls. And Gilgamesh asked, "The wife who has not known motherhood, have you seen her?" And Enkidu said, "Yes, I have seen her. What is her lot?" And he replied, "She is like a broken vessel that no one will gather up. Her life is rejected, and there is no one who finds comfort in her." And Gilgamesh asked, "The youth who has not known the love of his wife and has not shared the bridal bed with her, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him. What is his lot?" And he said, "A rope has been placed in his hands, and over this rope he weeps unceasingly, for his life was not fulfilled." And Gilgamesh asked again, "And the maiden who has not known her husband and has not entered into the marriage union, have you seen her?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen her. What is her lot?" And he said, "A reed has been placed in her hands, and over this reed she weeps endlessly, for her hopes remained unfulfilled." And he continued anew, "There are also those who are deprived of food and water. They feed on scraps, drink slops, and live beyond the city wall, far from any honor and remembrance." Then he said, "There are souls covered in sores, like an ox mercilessly tormented by gadflies." Then Gilgamesh asked, "He who fell in battle, have you seen him?" And Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him. What is his lot?" "His father supports his head and laments his son. He is not left without remembrance." And Gilgamesh asked, "And the spirit of him for whom no one cares, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him. What is his lot?" "He feeds only on pieces of bread picked up in the street. No one brings him funerary food." And Gilgamesh asked, "He whom a heavy piling crushed, have you seen him?" And Enkidu answered, "Yes, great was his torment. He constantly cried out, 'Woe to my mother,' when the timber cleft his body. Even now he smashes his bread with a heavy club, as though earthly pain has not left him." And Gilgamesh asked, "He who died in the prime of his strength, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him. What is his lot?" "He dwells where the couches of the gods are, and his place is honorable among the shadows." Then Gilgamesh asked, "My infants who were stillborn and never knew life, have you seen them?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen them. What is their lot?" And he said, "They play around tables of gold and silver. Before them are honey and sweet cream, and they know no sorrow." And Gilgamesh asked, "And him who was given to the fire, have you seen him?" And Enkidu answered, "No, I have not seen him. His spirit is not in the netherworld, for his smoke ascended to the heavens." Gilgamesh asked, "He whose body remained lying unburied in the field, have you seen him?" "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "His spirit knows no rest in the netherworld. He wanders without relief." And Gilgamesh asked, "He who fell from a roof, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "His bones are shattered, his hands are broken, and heavy is his rest." And he asked, "He who was swept away by the flood sent by Ishkur, have you seen him?" "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "He trembles like a wounded ox, and his sores torment him like gadflies." And Gilgamesh asked anew, "He who was thrown into the dust without burial, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "He is deprived of bread and water. On scraps he feeds, and slops he drinks. Beyond the city wall is his dwelling." And Gilgamesh asked, "He who did not honor his father and his mother, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "He drinks muddy water and the water of bitterness. No matter how much he drinks, he knows no satiation." And Gilgamesh asked, "He whom father and mother cursed, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "He has no heir, and his spirit wanders alone among the shadows."
And Gilgamesh asked anew, "The spirit of him for whom no one cares, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "He feeds only on pieces of bread picked up in the street." Then Gilgamesh asked, "He who falsely swore by the name of Sumukan and broke his oath, have you seen him?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen him." "What is his lot?" "He wanders by the watering places of the netherworld, but finds no full quenching." And Gilgamesh asked, "The sons of Girsu, have you seen them? Have you seen their fathers and mothers?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen them." "What is their lot?" "With their fathers they abide, they drink clean water and have found peace." And Gilgamesh asked again, "The sons of the people of Martu, who wandered upon the mountain peaks, the Sumerians and the Akkadians, have you seen them?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen them." "What is their lot?" And he said, "They drink the dark water of the netherworld, the water of sorrow and oblivion." Last of all, Gilgamesh asked, "My father and my mother, have you seen them?" Enkidu answered, "Yes, I have seen them." "What is their lot?" "Side by side they sit, clean water they drink." Thus concluded the conversation of Gilgamesh with Enkidu. And the king of Uruk understood that all the living, great and small, one day descend into Kur, where each is rewarded according to his deeds, according to the remembrance of descendants, and according to the destiny determined by the gods at the very beginning of time. Thus did Enkidu reveal to his friend a portion of the secrets of the netherworld. Commentary. Gilgamesh, Enkidu and the Netherworld is a Sumerian poem written around 2100 to 2000 BCE during the Third Dynasty of Ur. It tells the story of a tree planted by the goddess Inanna that becomes inhabited by a serpent, the Anzu bird, and the demon Lilith. Gilgamesh helps Inanna drive them away, and the wood is used to make royal objects. However, these objects fall into the netherworld. Enkidu descends to retrieve them, but breaks the laws of the underworld and becomes trapped among the dead. At Gilgamesh's request, the god Enki allows Enkidu's spirit to briefly return and describe the harsh rules of the netherworld and the fate of the dead. The poem was discovered on cuneiform tablets during excavations at the ancient city of Nippur, modern-day Iraq, by the University of Pennsylvania expedition in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
The text was reconstructed from several tablet fragments. One of the first scholars to publish and translate the poem was the American Sumerologist Samuel Noah Kramer in the mid-20th century. The translation has since been refined by later Assyriologists, including Andrew George and Jeremy Black.